of them, but this is amazing. We have the essence of pie, but in the easiest form possible. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Liv. I own Salt and Honey Catering in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm gonna show you how to make a delicious blackberry and apple crumble. So I'm gonna go ahead and list all the ingredients here on your screen. I'll also include a link to the recipe below. We're gonna go ahead and start out with our main ingredient, the star of the show, some apples. You wanna use some type of firm cooking apple, like a Honey Crisp or a Pink Lady or a Granny Smith. I have Honey Crisp today, and this recipe calls for 3 large apples or 4 medium-sized apples. So we're gonna go ahead and peel and core these bad boys and cut them into wedges. Now that we have our apples cored, peeled, and cut into wedges, I'm going to give you the ultimate hack to getting crumble in your belly a lot sooner than later, and that is to go ahead and pop the apples into a microwave to soften briefly for about 2 to 3 minutes, just to help with that cooking process and help ensure that there's also a little bit less apple volume when you go to stick it in the oven, so you can get all of that crumble into the good nooks and crannies of your baking dish. I'm gonna go ahead and pop them in my microwave for about 2 to 3 minutes, checking at the 60-second mark each time with the tines of a fork. And once these are done, we will get going on the rest of our recipe. You are gonna preheat your oven to 375 degrees because you are going to bake this in the oven. If you opt to omit the microwave step, it is not necessary. It's just a nice little hack to speed things along. Then you're gonna bake the crumble for a little bit longer than you would if you use the microwave tray. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on our crumble topping. So I've already pre-measured all of our dry ingredients. We have a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour and a 1/2 cup of rolled old-fashioned oats. You do not want to use quick oats, and you do not want to use steel-cut oats for this recipe. I also have a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, as well as another 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. And to finish off our dry ingredients, we're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Here I have 1 stick of cold butter cut into cubes, and we're gonna go ahead and add these also into our dry ingredients. And then we're going to go ahead and mix everything together using our hands. You could use the back of the tines of a fork, or if you have a pastry cutter, you could also use that too. We're first only going to get all of our ingredients mixed together, and then we're gonna go ahead and start breaking down the butter into smaller chunks, so that way we can form those yummy, like big crumbly pieces. We don't want the butter to get too warm, so you do want to do this step pretty quickly, just to ensure that the butter doesn't soften from the warmth of your hands, and get everything well combined. And as you can see here, this is the texture and kind of the consistency that you want. So we're gonna go ahead and set our topping aside. I'm gonna pop mine back into my refrigerator. If you're working in a warm environment, I highly recommend doing so, just to keep the butter nice and cold. Alrighty, I just went ahead and grabbed our warm fruit apples out of the microwave, and they're looking great. We're gonna go ahead and grab the rest of the ingredients for our filling, and then get to constructing and putting this guy in the oven. So next up, we are going to go ahead and incorporate 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar. We also have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of grated nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of grated ginger, and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We also have a 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. We have the juice of 1/2 lemon, or about 2 tablespoons. And I like the eyeball vanilla extract, but we have about 2 teaspoons of good vanilla extract. I love vanilla extract, so I always end up adding more than I need. That's my preference. And lastly, I have 2 cups of frozen blackberries. We're going to go ahead and stir this all together with a rubber spatula just to make sure all of the ingredients are nice and incorporated with one another. We can distribute all of that sugar and all of those spices along with that cornstarch. The cornstarch is going to act like a thickening agent, so it'll help the juices stay nice and nice and thick in the pan once everything is cooked through, and you just won't have all of this running fruit juice kind of going everywhere. We're going to go ahead and just dump all of our ingredients into our prepared baking dish. I have a 9x9 square baking dish. You don't need any, like I said, any fancy equipment. You just need to make sure that the baking dish that you do have is up to date. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that we have some even distribution across our apples and our blackberries here in our dish. And so that way we have, a good amount of blackberries in each corner as well as apples. And now we can go ahead and add our crumble topping. Now I'm just going to go ahead and spread our yummy oaty topping here into our prepared dish. All right, our oven just pinged. It's at 375. I'm gonna pop this guy into the oven for about 35 to 45 minutes. And I'm going to check it periodically. I want this to cook and turn nice and golden brown. I want all of the fruit juices to start bubbling away and release some of their yumminess into the pan. If you do not use the microwave hack, then you're going to want to cook this between 40 to 50 minutes. All right, crumble is out of the oven. It is golden brown and delicious. I went ahead and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes just to allow all of those juices to kind of thicken up and redistribute. Let's crack into it. I'm so excited to try this. It sounds good, but let's see if it tastes good. Okay, TBH, I made this like 2 weeks ago, testing this recipe. It was good then, but this is amazing. If you're like me and you like a good, easy dessert that doesn't take all that much time, try this. This is so good. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.